There was a time when Alex Ila and Renata Zerizua stood on the same side of the net, chasing the same dream. They weren't rivals. They weren't trying to outsmart each other from opposite ends of the court. They were teammates. Together, they shared pressure-filled moments, celebrated hard-earned victories, and trusted one another with every point they played. At Roland Garros, just over a year ago, they communicated in the way only doubles partners can. A quick glance before a return, a subtle nod before a serve, an instinctive movement that needed no explanation. They opened their campaign with an impressive first-round win before bowing out in the second round. Afterward, they embraced, wished each other well, and walked away expecting their next meeting would happen somewhere on the practice courts, not under the spotlight of a grand slam showdown. But Wimbledon had other plans. Now, fate has completely rewritten the script. Instead of standing together, they will face each other, and only one can move forward. What makes this first-round clash so intriguing isn't just the rankings, the grass surface, or the stage itself. It's the fact that both women know things about each other that most opponents never will. They've seen the habits. They've studied the routines. They've learned the subtle tendencies hidden from everyone else. And in a match where the margins are razor-thin, that insider knowledge could become a powerful weapon. On paper, Alex Ila enters as the clear favorite. The 29th seed arrives at Wimbledon carrying more than just momentum. She carries history. For the first time ever, a Filipino player enters a Grand Slam as a seeded singles competitor. Even more remarkably, no Southeast Asian woman has achieved that distinction in nearly 2 decades. This isn't simply a ranking milestone. It's the reward for years of sacrifice. Countless hours at the Rafa Nadal Academy, painful defeats, relentless work, and an unwavering belief that one day she would belong among the sports elite. But history comes with a price. Every expectation now follows her onto the court. Every camera tracks her movement. Every match suddenly feels bigger than tennis itself. Because when you become a symbol of national pride, the pressure doesn't disappear. It grows. Yet perhaps the most remarkable part of Eala's story is how quickly everything has changed. Only weeks ago, she transformed into one of the hottest players on grass. Birmingham became the turning point. Match after match, she tore through the draw without dropping a single set. Her confidence seemed to grow stronger with every victory. Then came the final, a grueling battle that pushed her physically and mentally to the limit. For nearly 3 hours she fought, refused to break, and somehow found another level when the match appeared to be slipping away. When she finally lifted the trophy, it felt like more than a title. It felt like a statement. Grass had suddenly become her playground. Frustration begins to creep in. On clay courts, Renata Zerizua's game can be incredibly effective. Long rallies give her time to absorb pace, construct points, and slowly wear opponents down. The higher bounce allows her to organize every exchange and force mistakes through patience. But grass is a completely different challenge. The ball stays low, it skids through the court, and it demands split-second decisions. Suddenly, there's no extra time to think. Every fraction of a second matters. And that's exactly why some of Zarazua's greatest strengths haven't consistently translated to the surface. But tennis has never been won on paper. Every Grand Slam produces surprises because pressure changes everything. Favorites tighten up, underdogs start swinging freely, and sometimes the psychological battle becomes even more important than the tactical one. For Alex Ila, this match carries enormous emotional weight. She's not simply trying to reach the second round. She's defending history. Millions of Filipino fans have followed her journey from promising junior champion to one of the sport's fastest rising stars. They've celebrated every breakthrough, endured every setback, and dreamed of seeing one of their own compete among tennis's elite. Now that dream stands just one victory away from continuing. And with those dreams come expectations. Invisible pressure. Every service game feels heavier. Every break point becomes more significant. Every mistake seems louder than it really is. Zarazúa enters with a completely different mindset. Almost nobody expects her to win. And sometimes, that freedom becomes the most dangerous weapon in tennis. She can attack without fear. She can gamble on aggressive returns. She can take risks, knowing the pressure belongs almost entirely to the players standing across the net. If she can grab an early break, if she can drag Eala into a tense opening set, doubt could begin creeping into the favorite's mind. Grand Slam history is filled with highly seeded players who arrived carrying momentum, only to discover that momentum guarantees nothing once the match begins. Tennis has a ruthless way of reminding everyone that reputations don't win points. Only performances do. And quietly waiting beyond this opening round is another fascinating storyline. The winner could find herself facing one of the biggest names the sport has ever seen. For tennis fans around the world, that's impossible to ignore. And Alex Ila's second-round showdown would instantly become one of the tournament's biggest attractions. It's the type of blockbuster matchup broadcasters dream about and fans eagerly anticipate. But looking too far ahead can be dangerous. Wimbledon has witnessed countless shocking upsets because players started thinking about tomorrow before finishing today. Eala understands that lesson better than most. Throughout this remarkable grass court season, she has repeatedly spoken about embracing pressure rather than fearing it. Every breakthrough has brought greater expectations. Yet every time expectations have risen, her level has risen with them. That emotional growth may be the most important development in her entire career. Earlier versions of Eala occasionally struggled to move on from setbacks. This version seems to draw strength from them. Birmingham proved her resilience. Berlin proved she belongs among elite competition. Now Wimbledon offers the chance to prove those performances weren't isolated moments. They were the beginning of something much bigger. As for Zarazúa, her story deserves enormous respect regardless of recent results. She has spent years carrying Mexican tennis forward, breaking barriers and opening doors for future generations. She has achieved milestones many believed impossible. She has shocked top players before, and she knows exactly how quickly momentum can shift inside a single match. That experience guarantees one thing: she won't step onto the court intimidated by rankings. She won't care about seedings. And she certainly won't hand victory away. Yet when all the evidence is placed side by side, the picture remains clear. The surface favors Alex Ila. The recent form favors Alex Ila. The confidence favors Alex Ila. The aggressive left-handed patterns that dismantled some of the world's best players should translate naturally against an opponent who has struggled to hold serve consistently on grass this season. If Eala serves well from the opening games, she has every opportunity to dictate the match before Zarazúa can establish the longer rallies she prefers. Because when Eala begins striking freely, the court suddenly feels much smaller for the player standing on the other side. That doesn't mean this match will be emotionally simple. Far from it. There will almost certainly be moments when familiar memories resurface. Perhaps Zarazúa anticipates a serve because she's seen that exact motion hundreds of times in practice. Maybe Eala recognizes a return pattern because they once discussed it while planning doubles tactics. Tiny moments, small flashes of recognition, details invisible to everyone in the stadium. Yet those details could influence some of the most important points of the match. And that's what makes this contest so fascinating. Beneath every rally lies a complicated history. Two athletes who once trusted each other completely. Two former teammates now standing as opponents. When the final handshake arrives, one dream will continue, the other will end. Everything suggests Alex Ila has arrived at Wimbledon at exactly the right moment. She's no longer winning solely through confidence or momentum. She's building a genuine grass court identity. She's defeating elite opponents through intelligent aggression, disciplined execution, and growing belief. And that transformation matters far more than rankings alone. Every great champion experiences a moment when belief stops feeling temporary. Recent weeks suggest Eala may have found hers. But before any future headlines can be written, one final lesson remains. Respect the opponent across the net. Respect the player who once stood beside you. Respect the woman who has already beaten you before. Because history disappears. Friendship disappears. Momentum disappears. Rankings disappear. The moment the first serve leaves the racket. After that, only one truth matters. The better player on that day moves forward. And Alex Ila now has the opportunity to prove that this remarkable rise is not the peak of her story, but merely the beginning of something even greater.